been pretty busy for the past few days. My one very good friend and I've been able to reinvest more of my time into that friendship and rearranging my priorities a bit, and it's really been worth it. It's been a lot more fulfilling. We've been hanging out a bit more. We hung out on Easter and we started watching a show called Shangri-La Frontier, and it's very good. I enjoyed it a lot. We started with the English because he tends to not like watching subs or, original Japanese dub. And it was only about 10 minutes before I was just, before he realized, like, yeah, I wasn't gonna make it through. The English dub of Shangri-La Frontier is the exact kind of thing that just annoys me to no end. Ugh, it was, it was funny and it was annoying at the same time, but it was just really distracting. Him going through his, like, John Gamer isms, ya boy, and all that, and it was just so annoying. Funny, but annoying at the same time. I couldn't take it seriously. So we switched over to the other one, and more of the delivery and the genuineness of, like, the subject matter. It was less about being, like, true gamer and more just, like, the characters actually... You can feel the love and the appreciation of all the writing that goes into the love of video games. It's the kind of show that just makes you want to go play video games afterwards. But so we switched over to the Japanese dub, and the experience got a lot better for me from there. It was a lot easier to get into the world, get invested, stop getting distracted by all of the really annoying references and stuff that they were sticking in the guy's dialogue. Ugh. Anyway, yesterday we got up, and then so we spent that time going through that. We did a little Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and then there was like well, let me think. What is today? Today is Sunday. Was East. Oh my gosh, my whole time thing where everything feels longer than it really is kicking in. So there was... Today's Tuesday. Okay, today's Tuesday. Okay. So, wow, it's only Tuesday. So, Sunday, we did that. And then we did that yesterday. Spent a good amount of time on it. I did some, like, side work, did more job applications. The usual stuff on that. And then we sat down and we watched more, and it's really good. We got up to the part where they're about to go fight Weathermon, the tomb guard. Something of that sort with the name. And I really like that scene with Vash when he's singing and hammering out of course I go to think about it. The rabbit knives into the moon daggers that need level 50 to get used. Vorpal. The Vorpal. Yes, that's right. Yeah, so that's been really good. That's been really fun. Yeah. Recently, the place where I live, there's someone who wants to find a new home for their 6-year-old cat, and the office of this place put out like a text message thing, like, if anyone's interested, and I got super tempted. My heart reached out from the loss of Killua. My heart reached out to think about it, but then I was just like, no, don't do it. Like, don't worry, someone else will come along and rehome that cat. Someone else. A loving home you, I don't, you can't really sustain that right now, you know? You can't really sustain that. So, I know it sounds heartless to say, but, financially, money wise, it does have an impact having 3 versus 4 cats. At the level that I'm at when it comes to finances. Now, maybe if I, was more self sustainable and things like that, but it has made a notable difference in time and money, and my heart kind of yearns, but I have to resist. I have to resist doing it. Yeah, just can't do it. Can't do it. Yeah, but ever since I finished, and moving on to the next thing though, but ever since I finished Metroid Prime, I've been feeling all restless. Like I've got the mental version of, restless leg syndrome. I've got all this energy now that doesn't know where to go. It's been tougher to just like sit still or sit down. I've been really wanting to just, my brain wakes up and it wants to do it all again. I found something, that kind of like gave me something that I didn't know I would get into so much, and now, yeah. Hell, I'm gonna sneeze. Like, I can go through the whole science of it, the accomplishing something, that kind of dopamine that comes with it, the schedule, the creation, the output. But in the end, it just feels like I'm missing something now. And how good it felt to play something, how good it felt to have that hour of enrichment, sometimes 2 hours in a day, recording, making the thumbnails, which I love. I love all my thumbnails. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of them. If you get to this part of this journal, please tell me which thumbnail do you like the most, because I feel real good about them. I definitely feel very, very good about each of those thumbnails. And, yeah, I mean, the key takeaways is, one is, you don't instantly, maybe for some people, but I don't instantly get to playing and talking at the same time, and especially about more, like, abstract topics from the game. I got better at it as I went along, though. I did get better. I got better just in general of talking and playing at the same time. But right now, I'm not quite to that super level. But I'm going to keep practicing it. I'm going to keep going and figuring that out. Figure out how to have that kind of separate fun conversation while also playing the game. And talk about more abstract things that are separate from the game. But I do know there are other Let's Players who, like, they play through games and they mainly just talk about what's happening on screen. While others, they go on random tangents and gags and bits. There's different styles, different things like that. And I was thinking about, like, is there anything I would do differently next time? That's something I'm going to have to think about, because I'm not really sure right off the top of my head. Within my means, this is pretty much what I can do, right? Which is just take my phone, set it up, point it at the screen, try and block out as much light as possible, record when I can, and just hit record. Try and sit as close as possible without, like, injuring myself having to twist towards the television. Let's see. Is there really anything I would do differently next time? I'm trying to think. If I started playing again, when I do, I'm sure I will. Nothing off the top of my head. I mean, obviously there are things like audio quality and visual, but there's not much I can really do about that, you know? What I've got right now is what I've got, and so it's what I'm doing. I guess the main thing, right? What I would do differently. Mainly just, I guess, when it comes to myself, right? Just maybe warm up, practice a little bit. Or maybe, like, I think what I'd do differently would mainly have to do with my own mindset, my own abilities, my own capacity for, and being engaging or engaging with myself, having fun. Finding a style that suits me more as I go along. But I'm very proud, very pleased that I managed to finish that. Managed to finish it. This is the kind of channel where, these journals, they don't get finished. They just keep going and going and going because, it's not how real life necessarily works. Now, there are little arcs that finish, come and go in life, but the journals themselves don't really have a definitive end in general. Whereas with, like, video games, I did it. I started it. I went through the areas, beat the bosses, got a good amount of the items, made it all the way to the final boss, and completed it. And now it's like my body misses that. My mind misses that feeling. And it was like a bit of daily output, too, But it felt a little more substantial than just doing a journal. These journals, I still like them a lot. They do a lot of good for me, but they're not quite the same, as like sitting down, playing a game, and kind of accomplishing something that someone else, setting myself for a challenge, right? Like when I do these journals, it's mainly low stakes, low pressure, just talking. But when it's a video game, it's like there's a certain sense of pacing and learning, problem solving, moving through. You know that there's an ending coming, that there's a process, there's lots of... It's like a lifetime condensed into a dozen or so hour experience. Like living a small segment of someone's life condensed into hours with gameplay, controls, writing, problem solving, that kind of enrichment experience, that could be a better word for it. Something about that, and something about having that, like, something that gets done, because, like, yeah, the journals, as I said, they don't have, like, a finish line. There's not an ultimate goal, All I can do with them is sort of set micro goals, mini goals, like, oh, I did 50, oh, I did 60, oh, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, that kind of thing. Milestones, but the road doesn't really end. But with video games, it's like, yeah, I accomplished that. Yeah, I did that. And then I recorded it, and I put it online, and I made a thumbnail. And each episode is like a little bit of progress towards the ending, In 16 parts, I played and beat Metroid Prime Remastered. Each episode is an hour. Each hour is a little more progress, a little more story, a segment. And it's like done, Once I go through that hour, I turn off recording. I go in, I start uploading it, and while it's uploading, I go in, make a thumbnail, stick it on there, put in all the categories, and then that's done. And each one is a little closer. It's like that little bit of output, It's not just me sitting alone playing video games, but it's me sitting alone recording playing video games, which then becomes a little episode in something, which then goes out and, someone, somewhere, sometime, whether it's for 5 seconds or a minute or, maybe the whole thing, gets to see it, gets to hear it, maybe gets to see the thumbnail and be like, hey, that's a cool thumbnail. But each step is a little more progress, a little more movement. It doesn't have to all be quick or drastic or big, but, it's accomplished. It's done. And it's one step closer to the end of something. And then I finish it, and it's like, I did it. I completed something. And it feels great. But now I'm just thinking about what to do next, And obviously I have a list of things to do next, but I mean more so in a project that gives me, doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be like massive. A project in this case could literally mean just recording something for 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Maybe even like not even dedicating to a whole game series, but just like giving a game a try for 30 minutes and then, doing another one for like 30 minutes. Like little micro sessions, Something to do about this restlessness and emptiness and the kind of momentum I feel that doesn't have anywhere to go. Yeah. So I looked up options, and there's like things like trying a random game for 15 minutes, revisiting a childhood game for one episode, exploring a weird game, attempting a challenge, something like that. Something that ends the same day you start it, to get the satisfaction of completion and creation. Produce something, finish something, share something, feel the momentum again. Yeah. But right now I'm just trying to figure out what I'm feeling about it and what to do about it, Or maybe not exactly what to do, but how to start approaching it, What's that next small step I can take towards kind of filling in that gap again, filling in that missing piece. Right now, currently, just to switch off of that topic, still related but switching off, right now, currently, I'm working on pieces of music and composition for an indie game related project that my one very good friend started working with some people on in college, and then I asked like, hey, do they have anyone for sound or music? And he was like, no. And then I was like, oh, hey, can you maybe put in a word for me? And then, it kind of worked out that way that I started doing music and sound effects. But unfortunately, it's not paying. It's not going to pay. So, thinking about that, like immediate payment, that kind of thing. So thinking about that, I'm making these tracks and I'm like, well, I gotta balance out working with time spent on doing this and making it quality, but still, making good time on making these pieces of music, getting them out there. Taking the time it takes, but it's those kinds of things where they take a good chunk of time to get like a proper output. So I'm trying to find ways to balance some activities that are smaller input-output kind of things, You finish it, and then you have those longer projects that are like, okay, not going to finish it today, not going to be able to finish it tomorrow, it'll probably take like 3 days, 2 days, what have you, that kind of thing. But it seems to me that just having one or the other isn't as fulfilling as kind of having both. Those longer things and then those shorter things that are also little bits of, working on something, completing something. Yeah. So, That's what I've been thinking about. Besides that, I mean, anything, yeah, besides that, it's been the same general worries about the other person. Uh, Same general worries about, you know, if I'm doing well or not at work. If, if I'm in good standing with my coworkers and manager and all that, or if I'm doing something wrong and, that kind of thing. Everything with that. But one thing that made me very, very happy was the other day. The other day, it was on Sunday, it was on Easter Sunday, as one of the people was leaving towards the end of the day. They gave me $5 as they were walking out. It was an older lady. And she told me that she really appreciated and that she noticed everything I was doing to take care of the people in the place. Keeping things clean, guiding people places, cleaning off different spots, making sure that they had the best hospitality that I know how to offer them. And that really got to me. That really stuck with me. And even just talking about it right now, I feel a certain weight lifted. I guess I've been wanting to talk about that, but that really got me. It's like, you really think so? I'm taking care of everybody in here. And that just got me thinking. Like, yeah, I never know what it looks like to other people, what I'm doing. Necessarily. Not never. That's a little exaggerated. But a lot of the time, I don't know necessarily what it might look like to other people. But I guess as I'm doing my job, it has a certain tender affection to it, or that sort of impression about it. But I guess I thought to myself, yeah, I suppose that kind of makes sense, I don't really have family or anyone to really be that way. I guess it's like some people, with their relationships, they learn this idea of like, this is what family interaction looks like, this is what stranger interaction looks like, this is what friend interaction looks like. But for me, I never really formed that idea of, okay, this is friend interaction, this is family interaction, this is, in a way that I guess is more typical. If I had to assume. I mean, even then, I'm not really sure if what I'm saying is accurate or true. But if I had to assume, it's possible that when I'm doing my job, I'm applying a lot of what you would consider to be saved or more akin to like family, what you would show family or things like that. But, I never really learned how what's the word here? I never really learned how other people, what the norm in terms of like what other people do in terms of how they kind of separate those interactions, what they reserve for one versus the other. So I was thinking about that to myself, like, yeah, I guess it's possible that there's a more familial aspect to the way I treat the people here or view them, that certain happiness just to have some human contact or interaction. Some of it turns into interaction or behavior that would be considered more caretaking, familial, more intimate in a light sense, to a light degree. A certain level of, I guess you call dedication. You could call it dedication. I don't know. I want to keep an eye on that. That's interesting to me. But it was just the way that she worded it, saying everything that I'm doing to take care of the people. Take care. That's an interesting phrase to put onto it. And I kind of want to see if is that true? Is that true? Not that I'm calling her a liar, but just for myself, just so I can recognize and understand it a bit better. Kind of figure out more of what I'm doing, you know? Instead of being hazily aware, looking through a mirror darkly, you know, that kind of thing. Gain a little more clarity on that kind of stuff. Yeah, but I think that's it for right now. That's all I really wanted to talk about. Just thinking. Yeah. I have been having a hard time getting back into the social media groove. Mainly because my main thing before was that I had a really big backlog and I had more time to... Not necessarily that I had more time, but more opportunity to sort of find things to put out through social media. But I would do something. I wouldn't just do like a small little word post. It was usually something like, you know, old art or things like that. And it would sometimes be, you know, new art as well, new drawings. But as time has gone on, you know, I've gotten a bit busier. Not that I've stopped drawing. Sometimes I draw the thumbnails for the videos. Other times I just draw more longer projects in the background, you know, a line at a time, just a few a day, or if I'm ready for it, you know, like bigger portions of it. But now, you know, I'm working on music, and then sort of like Metroid Prime happened as well. So I'm finding more of the balance of where things kind of fit in, you know? Where things kind of slot into the day, what each day is for. I am making sure, though, that even if it's just one line on a piece of paper, that I do draw each day, which does feel very good to do, even if it's just drafting up a little logo. And even if it's like not drawing, it'll be a little bit of writing, it'll be a little bit of music, you know, even if it's not big progress, it's some progress, something pushing, stepping, walking, swimming, wading, whatever the movement is, just a little more forward. And you know what? It's not too hard to do, I'd say. It's not too hard. It feels hard at some points, but the actual act of doing it is not too bad, not too shabby, not too difficult, not too redundant. Yeah, but I think that's it for now. I'll go ahead and stop here and drop a thumbnail and upload this. So, see you next time.